Good job. We'll get him logged in here.
So you're on.
Yep, so are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mochler,
Here.
Graylobe,
Here.
Easy,
Here.
Hammond,
Here.
Any conflict of interest declarations? Hearing none. Approval of agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Any visitors to be heard? Hearing none, 2024 budget discussion and resolution 2023-11 for opt-out. Did Betty send any thoughts?
she did, I spoke with her this morning, she is in favor of an opt-out in the neighborhood of 600,000.
Any other thoughts?
Actually, that's the number I came up with too. The 600K, you know, it's cutting us a bit close perhaps, and I know that we kind of put you on the spot, Carrie, on not going for a maximum opt-out, but
No, that's totally fine. I told Betty I slept last night for the first time in probably a week, just knowing that the budget looked better. So,
yeah.
yeah, I was really impressed with how everybody came together and really tightened things up. And I know that, you know, certain ones really made some sacrifices, but
Yeah, I know
it's so
there's
much better.
there's some pretty big reductions in light item as well as percentage cost. And my guess on Andy's, it looks like about a half a car or something like that.
A whole car, instead of a car and a half, I was gonna only ask for the half car, so
Okay,
that we'll be on track in 2025.
yeah, that was a
Didn't mean to leave you out there, Jeff.
22.5 was the reduction the way it looks. So,
22.5.
yeah, 22,490.
I think that's what we came up with, I think.
I thought we're gonna take it from 70 and change down to 30 in that line item.
Did I typo that one? Let me look at the workbook because I know we talked about taking that line item down to 30, but you're looking at the cover page,
I'm
so,
looking at the cover page where it's got
yeah.
put together and
I haven't seen that.
she's got,
So let me look at the line items though, and
and that's why I thought the number was suspicious. That'd be
I've
about-
got 30,000 in that individual line for the car. If you,
Oh, okay.
And that's half a car and equipment.
What
page is
that,
Right. Okay.
What page is that?
And the idea,
6, the one that I just sent you yesterday, on that first page, if you click on the department, it should take you to the page for that
Oh.
department.
Oh,
So
cool.
I did hyperlink it to make it easier to get
Oh,
from
that's
place
sweet.
to place.
Super.
thinking is that we do have a car still coming to us this year. And that will replace the car that's scheduled to go out next year. So I think that we'll be fine. Just going with half a car next year, so we can do 2 cars in 25,
Yeah.
and that'll have us still on track.
I think it's
Keeping our
worth
van.
noting too, that 22,000 number that Dick was just looking at is a comparison from last year's budget.
Correct. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
to, not your original budget request from this
Okay.
year, so
all right.
that's why that didn't quite pan out.
correct. And the number was suspicious to me, so it looked familiar. That'd be about a card. That's why I jumped to that conclusion.
Yeah.
And wrong jump. On a few of the items in front here, like on public welfare, that was 0 to 0.
So, public welfare is, like Salvation Army and like the
Okay.
ministerial associations.
Okay,
And the Salvation Army did apply this year for funding. I sent letters out to all the organizations and they did apply, but just knowing where we were at with the budget, I didn't include anything other than the ones that we did last year and that applied again this year.
I see.
So, interesting enough, I didn't receive anything from the Arts Council. And they were one that we did last year, so that one you'll see went down, because I didn't include that.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that too. The other one that I was thinking about is soil conservation. Are we generally obligated to provide that?
No,
They're non-mandated.
Mhm.
actually, we just had a question go around to all the auditors in the state about soil conservation, and most of the counties are not funding them anymore,
Mhm.
so.
What other funding sources do they have other than like, say, the river basin?
Well, the more they do, the more they make.
Yeah,
Because they charge for
sure.
their services, so that's kind of
So there's some self-funding
some that they don't,
for tree and grass planting and those sorts of things. So,
yeah. But I don't know how much of that's being done right now. I see
yeah.
a little bit, but
I know with our group, there's quite a bit in Turner County. And there's some in Union County. But, yeah, ours has gone kind of dormant.
for some reason Union and Turner do a lot of planting.
Yeah. I know that our outfit, our rig, the rig that Clay County's had, did some work in Union County 3 years ago and 2 years ago. But- Well, anyway. We don't have the cash anyway,
No,
but,
and there are some other things that can get trimmed in the budget too. Talked to Carrie about, the commissioners have 75,000 in professional services. Cause I see you left that in there, Carrie.
I did. I thought about trimming it, but I wanted to talk to you guys to see what you wanted for a number there.
Yep.
The last several years, we've done a lot of like architecture contracts and Hager contracts and things like that out of that line. So going forward, we've got the bond money, we've got the money for the HVAC project. We shouldn't have too much of that. But I'm just not sure how much to take that line item down.
mhm.
So I don't wanted to talk to you guys about that before I,
Yeah, I know
changed
if
it.
that was an issue where that helped us last year, but the main thing would be, the one thing that we have really done nothing with in this building is plumbing. And I know that that's kind of a weak point, so we probably should be leaving some in case that we end up with show up with the 3 inches of basement in the 3 inches of water in basement somewhere.
that would be typically, something that would come out of Scott's budget, out of that, general government building courthouse budget.
Yeah,
So I don't know. And I can always shift from one to the other before we finalize the budget, but
Sure,
that commissioner line item was one that I just wasn't sure about.
yeah.
So,
And his projects we took out of the building fund, right, to fund him.
yes,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So we saved some money on his. The other thought I had was possibly increasing the deductible on the health insurance.
Yeah.
Currently, we do a $1,500 deductible and we pay 500 of the 1,500.
Right,
So we left it at $1,000 for the employee. So if we went 2,500 or, anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000 on a deductible, we can pick up whatever take the gamble if we had to,
yeah.
if we thought that was a decent,
We're-
over 1,000.
What was the recommendation we got?
so, yeah, I looked back at our renewal in February or whatever it was that Rachel met with us. And it looks like if we did the next option up that she had on the spreadsheet was a 2,000. And if we did that, it was like, what did we say?
18,000.
18,000 over the course of a year that it saved. So,
Mhm,
not a huge amount, but I mean, it helps, so.
mhm.
But
And
you
I don't
start, pick-
know that we would eat up 18,000 in deductible reimbursements. We have some every year, but I don't know that we have $18,000 worth, you know.
But the idea of going to a 6% raise on that, health insurance line.
I had not gotten an answer back from them. I tried to contact them and Rachel's out of the office this week and her assistant has not replied to me, so.
I know their original recommendation was 10%, but.
That's just generally like a year to year, you know,
Mhm,
but. When you look at what it's been the last couple of years
Couple,
and, nationally, the average, I think 6% is probably fine.
yeah,
I really
and you
do.
made that adjustment
I
to
did.
6% in here.
Yeah, sure did.
So what you're saying, Travis, is we can raise that to $2,000. The employee would still only be responsible for 1,000.
Yep.
We cover.
We cover the
so
other
no-
1,000.
No added cost
No.
in there. Okay,
Right.
just,
no,
okay,
it's,
I just
The only
we take the
thing-
gamble.
okay.
Yeah,
The only thing that might be a gamble is depending what the maximum out of pocket is for people with that plan. If it goes up proportionally or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes that goes higher, but
We'd have to look at it. I'm just throwing
Yeah.
it out as an option.
right, yeah, and I understand that, that's something that we can, work with later on, but we just want to make sure we've got enough money on that line to take care of our obligations there.
Yep.
I think we're okay, but, without a more definitive answer.
yeah, and at this point, Rachel's gonna be guessing too, because they don't get any numbers until like late January, early February, so.
Sure. Well. Are there any other answers from what we've looked through that we'd be looking for? I noticed another big dollar amount change was the E911 fund. Is that
That one, remember last year they had to buy some extra equipment
yeah,
because of the ability to be able to text 911 or something like that. Anyway, there was a large equipment purchase last year,
yeah,
and so then this year they don't need that.
It was just simply the equipment they had was no longer.
Is that it?
They needed
Right.
new equipment, not just for the text,
I
but overall.
Couldn't remember the details, but I knew there was something that was planned for that was gonna happen, and then it would be, it would fall back down this year, so.
yeah. And that was something that we kind of knew was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
So
How
that
about-
200, oh, sorry. Dick, go
How
ahead.
about the ambulance fund?
That one, we bought the ambulance in January this year, so then that dropped back down too.
But we need to put in a fair amount. I think that to keep up with our regular replacement schedule, it was going to end up being a pretty high cost. Let me just look down here.
We've
It
been
Probably should be,
increasing 3% each year, and I know Matt talked about maybe going to like 5 or 6%. I I included the 3%. I didn't add extra.
Well, we got 40,000 in there right now, right?
Yeah,
And it probably should be 60.
Yeah,
I mean, we spent 258,000
yeah.
on this one.
And if they continue to go up, it's not a stretch to say that it could be 300 by 5 years from now.
Well,
yeah.
and what happened to the old one?
So,
What happened to the old ambulance?
Didn't we trade that?
Oh, yeah, we did trade it in, didn't we?
I think we traded it because there was an option for us to sell to someone else, but we had a pretty good trade offer from the company we bought the new ambulance from, so we opted to do that trade in. Yeah, that one was about 200 and that was 250 some thousand. That's what we spent on this
Yeah.
current one.
yeah, 257.5.
Yeah,
And that was a demo.
that's right.
Yeah.
We got a deal on that.
Mhm.
Well, we can hope for another deal, but we need to accumulate the fund up to a new purchase in 5 years, is it?
Mhm.
And that's 300,000 at 60,000 a year.
Yeah,
I don't think, the way it's going, I don't think it's out of line.
right. That being said, we're really in the first real year of a 2 to 3 year crunch. Does that sound right to you? I mean, where we're both paying off the bond and paying for prisoner care elsewhere. That's probably at least 2 years, possibly part of a third.
I'm hoping 2 years from this fall. Don't you think, Andy?
They're saying, what, 8 or 20 to 24 months from groundbreaking, so. It should be done by fall of 25.
So like on the ambulance, we'd be halfway through that purchase.
We can leave it at 40
Yeah.
and make it up later.
That's what we did this time.
That's what we did now,
Well,
Yeah.
that's because it escalated faster
Right.
than,
right?
I mean, we were, like I said, when I first got on, we were putting 25,000 away and buying an ambulance every 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely won't work anymore.
No,
It's crazy how much more things cost now than what they did 10
Yeah,
years ago.
it's crazy.
I know there's been a lot of inflation, but wow.
Well, windshield wipers for 2 trucks this week, $84. For 2 sets of windshield wipers.
Yeah. I'm glad I don't own a lot of trucks anymore. Well. Yeah, in going through it, that 600. Opt out, I think. Gives us some wiggle room if things really go south for us during the year, but. No. But I think we really need that much wiggle room, or. You feel okay with it?
So where does that put us then at the end?
roughly just a little over 13%.
13%?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's a lot less than what we've historically done.
Well, and the wild card is, how much money gets turned in at the end of the year.
Yeah,
If they don't,
Sure.
yeah, like
Yeah.
say Andy doesn't spend all of his budget, they turn it back and
mhm,
that goes to the cash line and Rod and. Those are the
And
two big ones.
if the revenues come in stronger than what I projected, I usually try to be fairly conservative without going too far. On the revenues, just because you don't know if they're all gonna come in the way you think they are. I did bump them all up a little bit for this next year's budget projections. I cut it a little closer than I normally do. I think we'll still be all right. But yeah, it just depends on how much is left at the end of the year and how the revenues come out, so.
So which revenues other than property tax are you talking about?
There's wheel tax, there's Andy's fees, prisoner boarding, we do get a little bit back from that. There's shared revenue from the state, a lot of that, like fine money and different things that come from the state. Like county portions of port of entry fees, bank franchise, like there's
Okay.
there's a lot. If you want to go through them one by one there at the end of your workbook packet there,
But the wheel tax, that's, I mean, that all goes to Rod, and
it does.
if it's not as much as you projected, then he just doesn't get as much. We don't have to make up the,
You still gotta keep that highway fund in, in the black, like. But,
if it's not there, we didn't take it from him, it just didn't happen.
right, and, the trick is then,
Cause that's what we have to worry about. We can't take it from him,
right,
but if it's not there, we don't have to give it to him.
right. Yep, but there's a whole list of other things that come in from the state and from different places, but. Yeah.
Yes, I'd make a motion that we accept. Propose a $600,000 opt out. That's what we have to decide today.
So I've got a motion for a $600,000 opt-out.
For how many years? 1 year?
I think 1 year.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Is
Probably
this,
should do a roll call for this one, just because it's tax related,
so, roll call.
Okay, let's go Graylobe,
Aye.
Hammond,
Aye.
Suzie,
Aye.
Mochler.
Aye, motion passes.
And I have to print that resolution, so I don't know if you guys just want to stop up at the end of the meeting and I can have you sign it. Probably have Jeffrey sign it when you get back, just so that we have a good solid record of everybody, so.
Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if we don't.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, thanks a lot.